Morrow going to actually be playing Zerg, interestingly enough, so we are going to get to see his ZVT. He's going to be spawning in the top right-hand corner of Tal'Darim Altar. In the top left-hand corner, we have the red Terran, as always, SlayerS.Ryung, who has some beastly TVZ.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very excited to see Morrow. Like we were saying earlier, Morrow, in general, will pick Terran against Zerg, but we have the opposite here. Mm-hmm. We have a Terran that needs to be taken out, so they're gonna throw Morrow into the mix, and Morrow has some very in-depth insider info on this matchup.
Yeah,
he understands it from both sides.
He was one of the best Terran players in the world through the beta and then up through the early part of the release as well before he decided to switch over to Zerg. And like we were mentioning before, still plays Terran whenever he comes up against a Zerg player. Doesn't like playing the CVZ matchup. Likes to rely on a little bit longer games and his mechanics. Nonetheless, he is going toe-to-toe with one of the very best Terran players in the world who has already taken 2 games for Slayers. So Mouse really needs something to get them back into this. And if Morrow doesn't do the trick, then they are in a very, very big hole.
Also, it just keeps things exciting. It keeps things fresh, playing one of your off races competitively against really good players. It's fun. It gets kind of old playing the same matchups in the same race all the time. So more power to Morrow for switching it up every now and then. I actually really like it. Some people, people don't understand why. People are always like trying to analyze whether or not his Zerg or his Terran is better and why he...
His Zerg is one of the best in the world right now, though, man.
Absolutely.
He is super, super good, has been taking good tournaments with it as well. And his name has dropped out of the news a little bit lately, but I'd like to see him really back into it 100%. So here we go. Looks like a 15 hatch coming down. Well, actually, it was said a little bit later hatch may have been. I apologize. I think it was actually 16 hatch, and he's going to do the 17 pool build that we were talking about before. 16 hatch, 17 pool. Keeps him safe against a lot of early danger and gives him enough drones to gain a pretty good economic footing as well while that pool comes up. It's a pretty good map to pull this off on as well, unless Ryung was doing some sort of super cheesy racks in the middle of the map to try and cheese his opponent out. A lot of pressure is not going to come for a pretty good period of time.
Yep. We do have a gas opener from Ryung here, so probably going to open up with some Hellions, try and take map control back from Morrow, and then get a relatively early CC. Factory coming up at the front here. He's actually not in position to get a super early add-on.
Yeah.
He's probably going to lift that off, perhaps?
Yeah, he's still got a while until he gets the gas.
Interesting.
And you know what's actually kind of cool about this timing, though, is that he shows the... there was a little bit of an accident because he didn't know Morrow was going to scout him at that particular time, but Morrow doesn't see the reactor coming down. So...
he's going to go back, though.
Let's see, he makes his way up. Ah, there it is. Okay. And he is going to see it, so he knows Hellions are coming.
Yeah, no doubt about it. He will know those Hellions are coming. He might scout this CC as well if he decides to make a third run into the natural. He did just... Well, the Overlord's actually going to get a spot on that.
Yeah, it looks like it is. Let's see here. The Overlord hasn't made his way down yet. Get down there. It's only a few feet away. Go! Anyway. Morrow, on the other hand, he's got speed coming up. He's got a couple of queens added into the mix, so his economy is going to be quite good. He's actually up in supply at the moment, and has quite a few workers as it stands. He already has a spine crawler coming up to defend against any sort of early Hellion pressure, but he'll need a little bit of queen support as well, maybe a couple of lings, because just the single spine crawler is going to allow Ryung to just run by into the main.
Certainly is. He's probably going to do a little bit of sim citying with an Evo chamber or perhaps a Roach Warren.
Very true.
Whatever tech choices he's going to go with here. SCV does sneak away from those 2 queens, going to stay in the main, and he'll be able to use that to scout again another day. And these Hellions could potentially get into the main here. There's not a lot preventing them from doing so. The 2 queens are obviously up, but they're not on creep right now. Ryung might see this and take the opportunity to sneak them in there, or he might
creep
wait.
Spread out, though, now, so the queens are going to be in fine position to defend.
And I think he's also going to wait for the second 2 Hellions. He is uprooting that spine, though. We do have a third queen out, and he's going to go for it while it's rerouting. He will pick off that forward creep tumor, but he doesn't decide to sneak in, which is interesting.
Yeah, Morrow already has 3 queens up and ready to go. Has started that creep spread, is actually going to connect his main and his natural very quickly. So I'm glad that he's at least connecting those together. The Sim City is starting to be put down now as the hatchery is in place. There's the evolution chamber. So now there's just 2 tight choke points that those Hellions can make their way through, and that's pretty well defended behind spine crawlers and these queens.
Hellions now just doing their job, maintaining map control and picking off creep tumors as Morrow drops them. Morrow just now starting to get that creep going back outside of his natural. And now the follow-up here for Ryung, what has he done?
Let's see. He's gone over back to... Looks like it's just going to be Marine Tank. He has a starport coming up, though. So, unless he throws down a tech lab on this factory, it may just be mass Marines on a couple of drops for a little while.
So, pretty early medevac's going to come out here. Early stim as well. Morrow working down those rocks to potentially take the third. He's also got that macro hatch. Morrow just looking really solid so far. I
agree.
I loved his progression through the early game there, getting the extra queens and the positioning on all his buildings right now. Just very solid.
Yeah, I think Ryung could have been a little bit more aggressive with those 4 Hellions, as we were talking about before. So Morrow is certainly the recipient. I don't want to even say of good luck, because he had pretty decent positioning on all of his units there. But certainly, I think Ryung could have done a little bit of damage. Morrow, though, he's not wasting it. He's going right to what's going to be 3-base Ling Bling Muta. And the Spire's already on the way. His infrastructure is in place. He's been able to play minimal defense and drone up pretty considerably through here. So Morrow's playing a very, very solid macro game.
We have quite a few Marines on the way to Morrow's front door right now. They're going to rendezvous with this medevac here. And Ryung taking a page out of Morrow's book, it looks like, at the natural. A lot of times when you see Morrow play, he will have these ridiculous supply depot walls that just span across all kinds of areas, and I haven't really seen another player utilize that. Maybe he's just trying to one-up him a little bit here. But
here we go. 7 Banelings are being morphed in to try and combat this big push. The Spine Crawler goes down. It looks like the Evolution Chamber might as well before +1 finishes, which is actually pretty big for Ryung. At the same time, how hard is he going to push? Looks like he is just going to be content with forcing a bunch of Banelings out of his opponent and Baneling speed, not to mention at this stage in the game, he didn't suffer any losses and goes ahead and heads back to the middle.
Yep. Now, is Ryung going to try and go for some drop play here? He could potentially try and work the main and the natural at the same time. He has those Hellions out on the map. He has Marines holding the Watchtower. Not taking his third just yet, so Ryung going to be a little bit delayed on that third. Oftentimes we will see Terran players, at least in today's metagame, take a really early third macro CC behind the wall in their main. Ryung going for some much earlier pressure here with Marines with stim and combat shield. Really wants to work on denying that creep. He's done a great job thus far, taking out some creep tumors here, going to get an Overlord as well. Still no Baneling speed, so he can't hold this off quite yet, but
it's about 35 seconds away, so it'll be here in a bit. But mutas are added into the mix, but this is a primarily Marine composition, so he should be fine on that front. Let's actually take a look. Yeah, there's 8 mutas on the field at the moment, but missile turrets are being put up in response to that. Nothing at the main yet. Hopefully we'll see one of those here pretty quickly. And the mutas make their way over, but they're going to be pushed back by a few more stim Marines that are making their way out. We have a couple of tanks in the main as well, a bunch of Marines ready to be either loaded up into a medevac or defend against a muta push, and Ryung's looking pretty good at the moment, but Morrow has not. I mean, yes, he lost the Evolution Chamber with +1. That hurt him, but he hasn't been taking that much damage quite yet.
Yeah, very true, and his third's up and running here pretty healthily. Hasn't been harassed yet. He hasn't really lost any drones thus far. But then on the flip side, he hasn't done any damage with his mutas. He made a pretty early muta investment. But he's kept them all alive here, and he's doing a great job scouting thus far. Huge push coming out of Ryung here. Going to be very difficult for Morrow to hold on. Ryung, not sure if he wants to commit. He's just kind of dancing around on the edge of the creep. I really like that.
Siege just finished up as well. So.
And notice how he doesn't step on the creep. I mean, hardly at all. Just playing so smart right here. That's really what you have to do. Work those creep tumors down, let the creep recede, then make your way in, trying to bait a few of Morrow's units out there.
A few free kills.
It is indeed.
And here we go. Another 40 Lings are making their way out as we have +1 being restarted, but that's actually going to be a pretty big omission from this fight. Morrow going to try and pick off a few units on the wayside, or at least try to get units to clump up so he can run in with the Banelings that have speed at the moment. He's producing nothing but units, though. He's at a 30 supply advantage, but those are on pretty cheap units, but with the exception of those mutas. So he'll need to trade pretty cost-effectively against clumped units or unsieged tanks to be able to really make this worth his time. Nonetheless, he is still finding a way to expand to his 4th as well.
Yeah, and the position here for Ryung is just getting better and better. He's trying to bottleneck Morrow into the space between the third and the second, and he's going in with everything here. The Lings and the Banelings, everything pulled off the line. Some great Baneling hits go off right there, and pretty much all the Marines were killed. Morrow actually coming up huge right here. Going to be able to clean up everything with these Mutalisks. Will take down the Medivacs and the remainder of the siege tanks.
Yeah.
And he can very quickly re-macro all those units that he lost and take a fourth after this.
Ryung is still on 2 base. He was putting a lot into that push, maybe trying to end the game outright there. It's not going to work out for him. He's going to lose a few Medivacs as well. There are a bunch of Marines up. They are going to chew through the Lings. Unfortunately, Morrow loses a few units there, but he's on 4 base. He has a macro hatch. His opponent's only on 2. He's already up by 40 supply. He's producing another. I mean, this is almost getting close to July Zerg-esque, where he's going for like killer instinct, and he's just producing mass units, not droning up past this.
Yeah, I think he might be trying to go for the kill here. It might be a mistake on his part, though, because Ryung had been macroing up behind that, and he has a great defensive position here, especially on Tal'Darim. It's really difficult to end a 3-base Terran. Well, 2-base, actually.
Yeah.
Surprised that Ryung hasn't taken his third yet.
There is another orbital command finish, so he'll be able to float that over in just a second. A couple of drops coming in, though. Let's see. There was one. Where did that guy go? I'm not really sure. We're actually going to follow these mutas here for a second as they're going to push their way in. Just start picking off these expensive add-ons and supply depots. That'll get the reactor. There we go. A few Marines are being sent in, but not enough. Ryung only committing a few back. And, you know, a lot of times you kind of rely on just sending a couple of Marines back, and that's going to be enough to scare your opponent away. But smart players will take stock of exactly what's on the ground and decide, hey, that's not enough to kill me. I'm just going to move into that.
Yeah, and, you know, mutas with a pack this large can certainly take out small to medium numbers of Marines. You need a relatively big pack. You definitely need to commit enough to get them out of there. And Morrow doing a great job picking off 2 reactors, a supply depot. Looks like a tech lab as well, and you know, thus far keeping those mutas alive was the best decision he made, because he's getting a ton out of harassing with them here in the mid to late game.
And this drop going to make its way down to the bottom right. Morrow immediately cancels his base. Doesn't look like Ryung was actually going to get down there, though. He's just checking for overlords at first. Now going to make his way down to the bottom right, and he will be able to stop that drone. Unfortunately, Morrow is supply blocked, but he's moving a ton of units on the left-hand side. There are so many Banelings here, and there's really nothing standing in his way from just going ahead and destroying this orbital command. Units coming out now for Ryung, and he lifts off right away. A very smart decision, but the Banelings are just going to roll through and start taking out large groups of Marines. The mutas have taken a pretty significant hit, but the Thor has gone down. The mutas are not really standing a chance. Morrow going to make his way through. He's still got a lot of Lings left. However, Ryung did not lose his base, but he is now down 69 supply to 154. Morrow is starting to take control of this game.
Yeah, Morrow doing a great job right there, finding his window of opportunity and doing quite a bit of damage. That actually could have been much worse for Ryung.
Yeah.
You know, Morrow could have just outright won the game there. He wasn't really paying attention. Sent all those Lings in first against stemmed Marines with Medivacs.
Right.
And lost, you know, 60-70% of his Ling count before the Banelings even got there. If he had coordinated that better, I think he could have just outright won the game.
Nonetheless, he does find himself up 100 supply versus his opponent, though. He's still on 4 base, and now that he has regained control of the right-hand portion of the map, he should be able to go ahead and expand a couple of times again. He's got a drone down here ready to do that. Let's even just take a look at Morrow's vision. He's basically looking at the entire map. With the exception of the very top left-hand corner, he's looking at everything. Ryung does drop down a lot more mules over here on the left to try and regain his mining, but he's down to 35 SCVs against the 76 drones of Morrow.
It's going to be very difficult for him to crawl back into this game. We have seen some games on Tal'Darim where a 3-base Terran can play a turtle style and work his way back into the game if he can get up to 200, get good upgrades going.
Very
it
true.
Just takes one big battle where he comes out way ahead, and then he's in a pretty good position to take the game. But I mean, Morrow certainly in firm control right now. I mean, he's about to remax once again. He's at 187 to the 97 of Ryung. Ryung does have 3-3 on the way, so he's been doing a great job thus far with his upgrades. Infestor's now on the way for Morrow. Oof.
Gotta love the Infestors, man.
Yeah, it's
Another
a nice tech transition on his part.
Another 9 mutas coming up as well. Refinery goes down, and so Ryung going to lose a little bit of gas there. But again, Morrow just picking off things for free. Just moving in, just picking off what he can, not suffering any losses, making his way back until he decides to commit with a huge group of units. And he's going to make his way in against a couple of missile turrets. Nope, decides better of it. Moves back away after taking out a couple of SCVs. And here we go. Oh, wow, scan at the perfect time, though. Morrow making a lot of bailing, so clearly he's going to move out and push with these units and then just start to trade remax over and over and over again. But Ryung does see that ahead of time.
Yeah, Ryung already up to 133 right now. Has a ton of siege tanks, too. Has been doing a really good job, replenishing that siege tank count. And, well, the creep spread right now from Morrow poses a huge problem for Ryung. It's going to make pushing very difficult. And it looks like Morrow might be willing to trade here. He has a ton of units at the Xel'Naga right now. Going to go ahead and pick off 2 medevacs right there with his Muta pack. And he's going to go for it, moving in with everything here. Great spread with the tanks, though. And Morrow going to lose a lot of units here. He retained almost all of his Marines. Good thing he moved out with that Muta pack.
That was, I unfortunately couldn't catch the siege tanks before they died, but this one is indicative of what just happened. 14 kills. Those banelings were just clumped up in huge numbers, and those siege tanks were able to use their maximum effect. Oh, couple of fungal growths going down, though. Those infestors trying to do their work.
Oh,
a lot of Marines die at once, so Morrow wins back a lot of the losses he just suffered, and he's going to be able to pick off these siege tanks as well, along with the medevacs, so... just with a couple of fungal growths,
and the
getting back
dynamic
into it.
of the glaive worm attack works so well together. They just go hand in hand. The triple attack and then fungal whittling them all down to near red.
Yes.
It just the mutas just take out swaths of Marines.
Bouncing between 3 units.
It gets really cost effective at some point. And here we have this drop from Ryung. Cleans up the 5th for Morrow once again. He's been denying that pretty fervently, and it's really going to pay off.
Yeah, it really has been, and because he is now remaining 3 base versus his opponent's 4 base, and yes, he's still down by 100 supply. Yes, Morrow still has control of this game, because he did just make the transition over to Broodlords as well. A ton of spine crawlers up at the front. Looks like he's going to pick off a pack of roaming Marines in the middle, but Morrow's just got to pick his engagements and ensure that he retains this advantage and make sure that Ryung can never expand, because now Ryung, he's not really doing any mining over at his natural. Because of the amount of mules he had down, he's going to get starved out of the 3rd pretty quickly as well.
Morrow's got to get a 5th going, though. He hasn't managed to do that yet.
Yeah, I agree. He's got another one coming down here at the pocket expansion, so hopefully a little bit farther out of place so the drop doesn't go there right away. Morrow going to make his way in, though, with a pretty big pack. 22 mutas, as a matter of fact, with 1/1 upgrades. Looks like +2 flyer carapace coming up in favor of +2 attacks.
Interesting.
Yep. Do we have our first Broodlords on the field? Yeah, there's 7 of them. Oh,
dear
boy,
God.
This is a huge air force, and the only anti-air is Marines right now. And he's even going to make this push behind a bunch of spine crawlers as well.
And Ryung scans that, says, oh, God, pulls back. Doesn't
No,
want to deal
thank
with the wall of crawl
Right.
from Morrow. And Morrow, I think, just going to slow push here with these spine crawlers, the Broodlords, the mutas, and the infestors.
Yeah, he's stacked a bunch of resources, so he'll be able to remax quite quickly whenever the trade eventually does happen. And it looks like Morrow is going to clean up this drop, so huzzah! He has retained a base, and he's going to be able to hold on to that. Look at this. He's going to drop down and kill the rest of the Marines as well, because the mutas were swinging in to pick off the medevac. No. Looks like Ryung was causing a little bit of a distraction in the middle of the map, forcing those mutas away, so he does retain the medevac. Of course, it's got no Marines to do anything with. Morrow has finally landed himself on a 3rd base, though. Or a 5th base, I'm sorry.
A lot of creep tumors going down here in mid, and Ryung just kind of moving his way down to the bottom right here. Morrow being very cautious, very careful. Continues to macro up near the Xel'Naga. He's bringing the Broodlords down. They might arrive just in the nick of time here to save the day. He is going to lose this 5th again, and all the drones, though, which is really going to hurt him.
Yeah, it really is.
Oh, man. He has to hold on to one of these bases.
He's got another base coming down at the bottom right. He's also got another one started here over on, I don't even know what you want to call that anymore, the 3 o'clock position, 4 o'clock position, I suppose. Morrow going to start pushing his way down, though. He wasn't able to completely trap those forces, but he does manage to clean up the drop. It looks like Ryung did see that hatchery. He's still got a considerable amount of forces, and really, he's banked 4K, 3K. He should start to move out and just start trading with his army, though, especially as Ryung has been on 3 base for so long.
Yeah, I agree with you. He needs to start whittling down the tank count, and he's just giving Ryung enough time to prepare for these Broodlords. I don't even know if Ryung knows about them, though. He has nothing in place to deal with them. I don't think he's seen them.
He didn't drop down and try and pick off the Greater Spire or anything like that. So,
has he seen the Greater Spire?
Let's go ahead and take a look. No. He's seen a Spire, but he doesn't know Greater Spire.
I mean, he has absolutely nothing in place to take out Broodlords.
Exactly. No Viking amount whatsoever. Looks like Morrow may be pushing his way through the middle of the map.
He knows now.
Okay, here we go. Looks like Ryung gonna make his way in, stims everything up, and the mutas just disappear.
Wow, leaving his tanks all unsieged there.
And the Marines are going to pick off, and this is a huge turn of events as Morrow just lost his entire attack force.
Oh my god. Ryung saw a window of opportunity there where he just left all the tanks unsieged and attack moved with everything.
162 lings coming up at the same time, though.
Oh dear god.
Holy crap.
That is a lot of banked larva.
Yeah.
That is a lot of banked money right there. Building a ton of banelings on top of this. He might just be able to re-macro and get enough to clean this up. I don't know.
Ryung finally taking a 4th base down here at the bottom right because he has to. He's got to start taking bases. I mean, if this push doesn't work, he's done because he just can't produce anything else. Nonetheless, though, we have a bunch of units that are ready to be rallied in just a second. 134 lings on the field. A bunch of banelings roll through, kill the units that were sitting up at the top. We'll see if he flanks from the side. I imagine he will momentarily. Another few lings are making their way out, and all of a sudden, we have quite the game on our hands.
Yeah, that was a really, really quick, intelligent decision from Ryung right there to leave all of his tanks unsieged and absorb the baneling hits with the tanks in tank mode. If they had been in siege mode, I think it would have given an opportunity for the Broodlords to really work their magic and start picking off tanks, and the Broodlings would explode on all the Marines, but leaving them unsieged right there was just so intelligent. Allowed him to just steamroll through, kill all the lings, banelings, and infestors, and then the lone naked Broodlords remaining just all got picked off, and now
Ryung going into super drop mode now.
Yeah, now he has a lot of breathing room. He can start working down these bases. A lot of spine crawlers here at the 4th, though, so he needs to head over to the 5th and try and find a pocket, but look at that. Upgraded it to layer as well. Really doesn't want to lose it.
Yeah, so, and you know, that's just good. I mean, if you've got the extra money sitting around, that's just good insurance. It's going to give you extra HP, and if you lose Hive Tech, it's not that bad to go ahead and try and go back up to high-tech units. So
yeah, I agree.
Nice little decision if you got the extra resources to spend. Here comes the push, though, and it looks like Ryung goes, man, you and your spine crawlers. A lot of Zerglings making their way in. That's going to clean up the rest of the drop. Has Morrow picked up on the base on the right-hand side? Or on the left-hand side? No, he has not quite yet.
Oh, dear. A lot of creep tumors here on the left-hand side of the map, and Ryung being very intelligent, keeping his army floating around the left-hand side there. That's really the most important area for him right now. He needs to hold that ravine right there in order to prevent banelings and lings from harassing his 4th. I don't know if he even has a planetary fortress there. I think it's an orbital.
Has Overlord been sitting there literally the entire game? I don't think it's moved. That was the first one that was moved out. We're 33 minutes in now.
Hey, he's just hanging out.
He's apparently got the easiest job ever. Good number of infestors are up, though.
It's the life of an Overlord, man.
Hey. Dude, I'm a pacifist. Just don't bother me.
Dude, I'm a pacifist.
Anyway, so...
Dude, I'm a pacifist. Just barfs all over everything that he sees.
Blow chunks
it's
over
like
the whole
Stan
battlefield.
from South Park. Man. Straight up.
And we have Ryung needs to set down this orbital command over the 12 o'clock pretty soon, though. I mean, he needs to just hope that he's going to get something from it. He's finding his way.
Oh, is that drop going to get picked off? Bottom, middle.
Bottom bit.
Boom.
Yes.
That's nice for Morrow.
Yes,
he has
certainly.
Great vision on the map. Look at his map control.
No, I mean, just look at this. When we take a look at his vision, he had vision of all this until a couple of seconds ago as well. There we go.
They're going to hit in mid.
And
both of them crossing each other.
Yeah, we'll take a look at those infestors here in just a second after all of this happens. Okay, looks like nothing going to happen there. The infested Terrans do make their way out, though, and they're going to deny mining here for quite a while. Needs to move them up and start doing some damage. It looks like he's more worried about the couple of drops that are making their way up. Ryung is going to hit the hive, it looks like. And he's going to take out the queen first of all. Should probably go up here and take down the Greater Spire, but at the same time, Morrow's making his way into the main. He's going to start camping production structures as he moves down and continues to deny the economy here.
Really, really important moment in this game. All these Marines are going to come back and clean up these Lings, however. Both players sort of denying each other's production in their own right.
Yeah, Morrow has just decided to move down to the bottom right corner.
Why is Ryung picking up that drop?
Yes,
there you go.
There we go.
Kill the spawning pool. Kill the infestor
but
pit,
look at this.
Kill the Baneling.
There's already another Greater Spire coming up. Morrow actually built a spire just in case that would happen and a spawning pool, so he's completely relocated himself down to the bottom right-hand corner.
That's so smart.
Yeah, it really is. Especially because Ryung is now officially held to no mining, and his access command center is right here, and he needs to use it pretty much ASAP.
You're so smart, Morrow.
Really is, though. This is exceptional play.
It's very intelligent.
Yeah.
It's just fail-safe systems. He's got the money.
Yeah.
He's mining off of 3 base. Why not just relocate to the bottom right? Why do you want to spend the time and effort to continually defend the top right when it could potentially throw you out of position to save 3 bases that you already have completely mined out?
And looks like Ryung is going to reestablish himself down here at the bottom left-hand corner. Throws down the scan, and these infestors are going to pop. Come on. Second one gets away. Sad stuff. Anyway, Ryung
tunneling his way out of there.
Ryung right now is probably like, haha,
look at all those larvae.
Gone. I know, that is actually kind of disgusting. But he's probably like, all right, yes, the base is done. The hive is done. He's on super low tech. Nope. That's Greater Spire. That's Infestation Pit. Ultralisk Cavern down at the bottom right as well, and he'll just be able to remax. He's got 5k, 4k in the bank, or 5k, 3.5k, so he could just produce mass Lord Ultralisk if he wants to.
Yeah, Ryung does have quite the army. Only a single medevac here to heal up all these Marines. She certainly has her work cut out for her. Now, let's see if Ryung tries to do something similar to what we saw in the first engage here, where he just left all the tanks unsieged, stemmed everything, got a really good arc, and then tried to just bulldoze his way through. I think there's more infestors this time around with more energy, which is going to make something like that possibly,
especially without those ghosts you were talking about before. Ghost Academy only now coming up.
Yeah, Ghost's really going to help out in dealing with this late game unit composition we see here from Morrow. He needs to get EMPs off on these infestors. We see Morrow sneaking around here with some Lings, going to go for a backstab counterattack. I really like this.
Yeah,
going to pick off a few free tanks here, maybe.
Could very well, and it looks like they are going to go down. 2 tanks fall, and the Lings are still going to run themselves into the main. They see the Ghost Academy, so they'll probably be prepared for that as well. We had a bunch of Ultras come up as well. Oh, where's the Nidus? Where's the Nidus? I heard a Nidus being loaded up at the moment, but I'm sure we'll see one here in a bit. Let's see if they get puked out, because we know exactly where Ryung's going to be. Okay, so yeah, that's a good question. Nonetheless, that's a staggering army.
Yeah.
I mean, Morrow, he's just going to max himself on Broodlord Infestor.
Morrow is really showcasing how to play Zerg well in the late game. Oh, he's actually got a double Nidus.
Yep.
And he's dropping it in the main.
Yeah, he's got some coming up as well. I'm not sure where they're at
the
moment.
There we go, in the main.
Yeah.
2 Nidus.
And they're going to make their way up, so we'll see him start to flood units in just a bit. Also, Infestors. God, they're going to put down so many Infested Terrans. As Frank likes to call it, it's the Spawn Army Command from the Infestors.
The Spawn Army Command going to take out that CC. He does get both the Niduses up in the main as well. Actually not going to send any units through there, but did force Ryung to relocate his entire army, and in the meantime, took out his 4th mining base, which is a big deal.
Yeah, it really is.
As long as Morrow can continue to hold Ryung to 1 to possibly 2 mining bases, he has a lead in economy that, oh man, these double Niduses right now just gotta be so annoying for Ryung.
I can imagine. Especially because Morrow has so many resources at the moment, he can afford to just use as many as he wants. There they are, double Niduses coming in. Fungal goes down, and the Ultralists are going to clean up the rest. Morrow, even though this game has gone on very, very long, has played exceptionally well at continuing to deny bases. Realistically, Ryung has been pinned to the top left-hand corner this entire game. Morrow, for those of you just joining us, did not spawn cross positions.
No.
He was up here at the top right. He's just happened to relocate all of his forces down here and continue to mine throughout the entire game.
Yeah, and he's banked 4.6, 3.2k. He's been maxed forever here. He
Yeah.
has Ultra Tech, he has Broodlord Tech, he has great upgrades. Now he's using Niduses in the late game. I mean, I don't know what he hasn't tried this game.
Yeah,
and
certainly.
right now, I think has a considerable lead on Ryung. He just needs to win a big engagement here. And he's continually denying the fourths, so really the onus is not on Morrow to make a move here. The onus is on Ryung to try and make something happen, and I think that's what Ryung may be looking to do here. He has to try and deny a few of these bases from Morrow. A few more Niduses going up here. We'll try and find them.
Yeah,
Sorry, there's so much.
There's a couple of them. I heard one just spawn a second ago, so they're pretty much everywhere.
They're
though.
everywhere.
Yeah, exactly. We'll probably see another one up here as well. Ending
Oh
down here
god,
at the
those
bottom
sounds.
right. Yeah.
Ryung must be having nightmares right now.
Ah, there they were. There was a couple down at the bottom left-hand corner as well. Looks like Ryung is going to try and reestablish yet another mining base because he still is at 150 supply. But, I mean, Morrow, like you were saying, Morrow's completely fine. Whatever. Okay, fine. I'm on this many bases. It really doesn't matter. I mean, you have to attack me or I will just literally starve you out of this game. There's nothing you can do. I can just be pesky and put it on you to try and attack me.
Very true, and denies the 12 o'clock once again, has been harassing the 9 o'clock throughout the game. Additional Niduses going up in the main here. Marauders in position to clean those up though, so good job by Ryung. He doesn't want to, well, he can't lose his production facilities or he is completely out of this. He's considerably behind right now, but he's not out. As long as he has that giant Terran ball, he has a fighting chance.
Yeah, certainly. Because if we take a look at it, he's down by 50 workers, but only down by 40 supply, so he actually does have the larger army advantage at the moment. But the problem is...
He can't rebuild this.
At all. I
Ever.
mean, he literally has to kill Morrow right now, because Morrow has 6,500, 3,500 in the bank, and has enough larvae that he could just spam Zerglings and obliterate his opponents if the army goes down.
Morrow actually skirting his way around the main, trying to find a position to put these Nidus worms up. Now, he does have personal cloaking here, and these ghosts do have quite a bit of energy. I love the two overseers, though, from Morrow in position, and those two overseers could end up saving Morrow's life here.
Here we go. Morrow going to make his way up. We may actually see the engagement for real. Maybe, could be. Yeah, here comes Morrow. He's going to make his way in. A lot of cloaks go down. The EMP spam on top of the infestors, so they're not going to be able to use any sort of fungal growth. So Ryung is going to try and get the best engagement he possibly can. But look at this. Already, for every supply that Morrow loses, he's just remaxing on Zerglings. He's already got another 90 coming up. The Overseers were in place, so he was able to take out a number of those ghosts. The ghosts really not able to do anything else. The Broodlords are continuing to do their damage. Ryung picks up inside of his medevacs down to 76 supply. He's producing 7 Marines at a time, but that is not going to be enough to make his way back into this. This is the only mining that he is doing on the map, and Morrow is just about maxed once again.
Yeah, you know, he did manage to kill off a majority. Oh, and there we go.
And Ryung leaves a 46-minute game, so